if I had no convictions, if I did not have a true moral compass, if I didn't care about the impact that I may or may not have on a future generation, then I would just be a right-wing grifter. It is not hard to be a right-wing grifter. We need a good palate cleanser. And I think that good palate cleanser is going to come to us in the form of Steven Crowder, who is wearing a similar colored shirt to myself here. Please do not make the comparisons. It hurts my feelings. Steven Crowder made a video a couple days back. I didn't even watch it. Didn't really care. I thought it was yet another one of his like bullshit, like big conservatives are fighting alongside big tech now. I didn't really understand the significance of his video because I didn't watch it. Then I found out that it was actually about him complaining about a contract. Now, I myself am a content creator in the political arena, in the political space. So, I understand what it's like when you get underpaid, when a big platform is taking away your work and only giving you back a percentage that you have no control over. Okay? So, maybe this is going to be good. Let's take a look. Here is Steven Crowder complaining about a contract that was given to him by Big Con. Now, we don't know which conservative corporation has offered him a contract. We don't know the details of the contract at this moment. And a lot of people, including Jordan Peterson, actually, decided that this was valid. Jordan Peterson, since then, when new revelations came out, deleted that tweet offering support to Steven Crowder. But let's take a look at what he had to say.
Big tech is in bed with Big Con. The people you thought, the people I thought were fighting for you, a lot of it has been a big con. Now, I'm specifically avoiding naming names or going after individuals in this video because I genuinely hope that those I'm addressing, and you know who you are, have a change of heart. Don't sign these contracts. I now know what you are signing out there. I have the luxury of not having to. Let me go through this. If any of the major platforms issues a content strike such that Crowder cannot be monetized on such platform, the fee will be reduced by 25%. And then another 20% of it happens on Apple. And then another 10% of it happens on Facebook. And then another 10% of it happens on Spotify. And then if you get a strike, meaning a suspension, another 20%. Just to drive it home, you get hit by a car, you have a sick day, you could lose $100,000 a day. This is what's sent out to everybody. Big tech is in.
And we didn't know at the time what the details of this contract were, but turns out, and Will Sommer actually did a pretty good job covering this, there's a big feud breaking out tonight between the two of the biggest names in right-wing media. It pits Steven Crowder against Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire, all over $50 million that Steven Crowder was offered as a first round of negotiations, which implies that it was going to go up higher over a 4-year contract that he found so offensive that Crowder leaked the terms of the offer. Now, yesterday, Crowder, newly independent and trying to build his own media company, released the terms of the deal without naming Daily Wire. Crowder made this out to be a big whistleblower moment, urging his fans to fight Big Con and join his email list, of course. As is the case, get my mugs, buy my shitty products that I make in Indonesia that I upmark by 100x as I shill you more unfettered, untampered, racist, agitated propaganda. Crowder focused on two parts of the offer in his video: that he would lose money if he failed to deliver all of his contracted episodes, and that his money could be reduced if he was banned from YouTube or other platforms. He left out that this contract was over $50 million as an opening offer. Fans quickly figured out Crowder was talking about the Daily Wire. So last night, the Daily Wire CEO Jeremy Boring, this right-wing mogul empire builder character, put out his own hour-long video effectively calling Crowder a moron for misconstruing the offer. The reaction among the right-wing fan base was initially with Crowder, as I talked about, but now seems to be shifting against him with the revelation that he treated a $50 million contract like it was indentured servitude. One final detail, and we can look at the full Crowder video as well, but that's 28 minutes long, and I really don't want to look at it. I will just look at the high notes. The highlights. Jordan Peterson, whose podcast is hosted by the Daily Wire, as I already pointed to, was apparently unaware of who Crowder's video was actually about and initially tweeted his support for him. Someone appears to have gotten to him, though, because Peterson later deleted the tweet. In his video, Steven Crowder insists that this is a slave contract and says there's no need to be enslaved like this. Then the Daily Wire revealed this slave contract was for $50 million over 4 years, 4 weeks off a year, and Crowder never working Fridays. Not a bad deal. Now, as someone who makes a lot of money and is a political commentator, I will tell you this much. I think it's more so that Crowder feels that his autonomy is being taken away from him in this contract, and that's most of his concerns, okay? I'm going to be as charitable as I can to Steven Crowder, thinking about Steven Crowder like he is not Steven Crowder, but instead a fucking human being who is worthy of $50 million for a brief moment, just for the sake of this argument, okay? Ultimately, one of the funniest parts about this is the reality that there is a racism clause in the contract. Steven Crowder is understandably upset. I mean, we're not talking about his indentured servitude complaints because that's hilarious, okay? Shut the fuck up. But what is funny about this is that because he is famous for racism and because that's his output, that's his content in general, he is noticeably frustrated by the fact that he's like, you want me to do racism for you, Daily Wire, under the Daily Wire banner, but you are also simultaneously asking me telling me that I can't get banned. I got no more drama. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. I find that to be particularly funny. I find that to be fucking outright hilarious. He's like, but you want me to do my thing. It's like telling LeBron James that, like, if he puts up more than fucking 30 points a game, they're going to cut his funding. Because Steven Crowder is the LeBron James of racism. They're like, hey, Steph Curry, nice contract you got here. We're going to give you hundreds of millions of dollars. You can't shoot three-pointers. You're just not allowed. At any given game, you are no longer allowed to shoot three-pointers. It's like, brother, that's why you hired me. You know? So in a weird way, I understand why he's upset. Because he's like, of course I'm going to get banned. I am the best at getting banned. I'm such a fucking racist. You love my racism. You want me to do it under the banner of Daily Wire. But then you get mad if that racism ends up, costing you contracts. The reaction among the right-wing fan base we talked about already. Possibly relevant in November, roughly 2 months after the Daily Wire negotiation broke down, Steven Crowder was defending Kanye by complaining about people with Jewish last names in conservative media, duping talent with confusing contracts. Now, one thing, I mean, there's so many components of the story that I, of course, want to talk about. I tweeted about this last night. The thing I said about it was that, it's really funny that these guys condition their audience into hating someone like myself, commie grifter, you make so much money. Meanwhile, the money I make comes directly from voluntary subscriptions to an otherwise free form of entertainment. You can get it for free. Not only that, but you can even use it for free as the IP is released. And people still choose to give $5 or a free Twitch Prime subscription, right? And I'm not touching the amount of revenue that Steven Crowder is demanding, the amount of contracts that Steven Crowder is like apparently comfortable receiving, and yet people still, his peons still unironically and expectedly turned around and did the same defense. They were like, oh, shut the fuck up. I don't know how they have this kind of money, though. Okay? I don't know how. I do not understand how the Daily Wire franchise has this kind of money. My expectation is that oil barons, like the ones that started the Daily Wire with a $4.7 million investment back in 2015, are continuously pumping them full of funds. Because there is no fucking way you can give Steven Crowder $50 million a $50 million over the course of 4-year contracts. Like, you just can't do, there's no shot. That is CNN money. Okay? That's not just Facebook money. That is CNN money. Even if they are making $100 million a year, which I think is a really high amount, offering 50 just to like buy out the other competitor, I guess, and put them under their banner, that's insane. There has to be some nefarious, nebulous ways that these guys are getting funded. Anderson Cooper makes $12 million a year, by the way. Under this contract, Crowder would make $12.5 million a year. I mean, how much money does CNN generate, though? CNN's yearly revenue is $2 billion annually. CNN generates $2 billion. Do you think the Daily Wire generates $2 billion? There is something that does not make sense about this. Dude, they spent over $10 million on a movie that made 13 grand on opening week. I know. But this is not a sustainable business unless there are additional funds coming from somewhere. It makes no fucking sense. The Daily Wire says it is a $100 million a year business. A $100 million a year business offering $12.5 million to Steven Crowder is insane. That's crazy. Now, before we continue to investigate like how they are able to generate this much wealth, I want to talk about one other aspect of this story. And that aspect of the story is directed at all of my supposedly leftist criticizers who say, Hasan, you are simply a grifter. You are not a Maoist third worldist like I am living in Iowa. If I wanted to grift, why the fuck would I be on your side? Why would I be around people who genuinely generate content by just shitting on whoever they perceive as the largest leftist out there? This is what the left is known for. Self-defeating dumbasses. It is infinitely and unimaginably better for me to be a right-wing grifter. If I had no convictions, if I did not have a true moral compass, if I didn't care about what the fuck I was saying and the impact that I may or may not have on a future generation, then I would just be a right-wing grifter. It is not hard to be a right-wing grifter. These guys are not very entertaining. Dave Rubin is enough for you to understand. Dave Rubin has a sustainable business. If I can make left-wing content entertaining, you bet your fucking ass I can make right-wing content entertaining. Okay? So I just want people to understand this, because there is something there that I had to bring up, you know? Unimaginable. CNN makes $2 billion a year in revenue. Fox News, what, makes 13? Is that true? You do not need to be smart. You do not need to be unique. They are not expecting you to be unique. You do not need to be charismatic to be a right-wing broadcaster. You just need to say the words. Okay? Yes, I know that the Daily Wire was originally funded to the tune of $4.7 million in a first round of funding in 2015 by two investors, the brothers, the Wilkes brothers. Now, I'll just mention another thing. These guys also fund the PragerU as well. How fracking billionaires Ben Shapiro and PragerU built the climate crisis denial empire. I'll mention another thing. If you're wondering why so many smaller left-wing content creators that start off on the left always end up becoming right-wing shills that defend Donald Trump even, Okay? You have the fucking answer right here. It is infinitely easier to be a right-wing grifter, and it's infinitely more bountiful. Okay? That's why you see so many broadcasters make that right-wing heel turn. Okay? It's not an accident. So please, for the love of Christ, next time you criticize not just me, but any other left-wing content creator, keep that in your fucking mind when you're talking about how they're grifting. There are not that many examples of people like myself on the left. The left has to be self-funded. The left, as a position, as an ideological position, is always advocating against the structures, advocating against the interests of the wealthy, advocating against the interests of corporations. That kind of agitative propaganda has to be funded by grassroots. It cannot be solo funded. Because it's going against the accumulation and concentration of wealth and power. That is why it's infinitely harder. Okay? Not that it fucking matters, because I have a profoundly fortunate life. I'm very privileged. I love what I do. I feel incredibly emotionally fulfilled. And I've been doing the exact same thing back when I had no funding by my subscribers, back when I had 35 people watching, and I'm doing the same shit at a much larger capacity now that I have 71,000 subscribers. Okay? So just wanted to point that again. And I talk about this all the fucking time. I talked about this with the Alex Jones shit. It just falls on deaf ears. Okay? Now there is another thing that I must talk about here. And that is the value of propaganda. A lot of dummies, especially well-intentioned dummies on the left, routinely forget that propaganda is profoundly important. Obviously, you are stupid and don't recognize that. So all you do is fucking chirp. You know who does recognize the value of propaganda? Billionaires who fund these right-wing operations, regardless of their lack of content, their lack of character, and regardless of how uncool, undesirable, and undisruptive they are, and unentertaining they are, they still get hundreds of millions of dollars in funding. Because rich people understand the importance of marketing. Rich people understand the importance of propaganda. Rich people understand the importance of PR. Stop self-defeating. If you're on the left and you see this shit, stop fucking chirping. Stop fucking complaining. You pathetic fucking losers. Okay? You might not understand the value of propaganda. You might not understand the value of someone out there trying to portray themselves as a unifying figure for leftist ideas. Okay? But rich people always do. They recognize it. Okay? Here's an article from the Daily Wire for the first time revealing the size of its paid subscriber base. They claim they have close to 600,000 subscribers now paying for one of its 3 membership tiers, benefits of which include access to a growing slate of feature-length films, podcasts, and eventually kids programming, among other content. I don't believe that number. I don't. Rich man praises rich people for being good at propaganda. No, rich man understands the value of propaganda and explains to motherfuckers that they're being propagandized, that they are engaging in self-defeating methods when they fucking shit on me. Why do I think the number is wrong? 600,000 people paying $5 a month seems insane. I don't know what their membership tiers look like, but that is an unimaginable amount of money. $8 is the smallest. That's also something you can very easily hide because that's private information. It's a private company. You could just like have one guy dump 400,000 subscriber worth money, with subscribers worth of $8 subscriptions into their subscription, and then they beef up their number on their end, and you will be none the wiser. You have no idea. They can just lie about it. The Daily Wire is close to outgrowing its name, or at least the part of its name implying the fire hose of information obtained from something like a newswire. You are not immune to propaganda, exactly. To be sure, a mix of quick hit takes plus original reporting does still comprise the centerpiece of the Daily Wire's operation, but starting with the rollout a few years ago, what's proven to be a successful paywall under co-CEO Jeremy Boring, the company has also now matured to the point that its multifaceted commercial ambitions actually feel at least conceptually more aligned with a publisher like the New York Times. Oh, okay, so it's $8 a month, $12 a month, or $14 a month. In June 2022, founder said the Daily Wire had 890,000 paid subscribers. In November, they stated that they had surpassed 1 million paying subscribers. That would mean $8 million a month that they're making at the very least. It also means they lost 400K subs in like 3 months, right? No, that Forbes article is older than the one that we're watching, the one that we're reading. That's from April. In April, they said they had 600. And then in June, they said they had 890,000. And now they're stating in November last year, they have surpassed 1 million paying subscribers. 1 million paying subscribers. Look at the weird stuff these people be buying, like the Rambo Trump paintings. Dynamic Jab 13, thank you for the 7 gifted subs. Podcasts and radio. In addition to its written content, they produce several podcasts: Ben Shapiro Show, The Michael Knowles Show, The Matt Walsh Show, The Andrew Klavan Show. The reach of The Ben Shapiro Show expanded in April 2018 when Westwood One began syndicating the podcast to radio. They made it into a nationally syndicated 2-hour live radio show. That greatly expands your reach, by the way. That is like, for conservative media, this is actually an avenue that most people do not recognize. Like Alex Jones does this too. Uncle with a good take. As a person who runs a digital media company, I can tell you with absolute certainty that Ben Shapiro is right and Steven Crowder is wrong about this. The only thing Shapiro is wrong about is offering that much money for this jack bag. Watch Jeremy's video in which he reads word for word the entire non-binding term sheet Daily Wire Plus offered my friend Steven Crowder, $50 million over 4 years, explains every contract term, and encourages people to subscribe to whatever Steven does next. We all wish him nothing but the best. Yeah, conservative radio syndication is not only huge money, but also insane reach. That's another one. This kind of thing, I'm not kidding, is so incredibly discouraging. AM radio in 2023, you're delusional if you think that that is not infinitely popular in the rest of the country. You are stuck in your, and I hate to use this term, bicoastal elitist neoliberal bubbles if you think that radio is not legitimately a gigantic space still. A type, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. In 2020, the Daily Wire acquired the entirety of PragerU's content. In January 2021, the Daily Wire released Run, Hide, Fight, a feature-length drama about a mass shooting. Again, these are like unimaginably unsuccessful media ventures. As far as Ben Shapiro's podcast goes, that is a very successful media venture. What is this? DailyWire.com traffic stats. 31 million visits. I don't know if that's good or not. I don't know. for the month. But I can tell you this much. Steven Crowder has made a living off of peddling racist, bigoted, misogynistic, transphobic commentary. Anti-poor, pro-capitalist, just an awful person. I would say probably like everything that I believe, he believes the exact opposite. And that motherfucker, as far as I know, as far as I understand, as far as like the cultural relevance of Steven Crowder, especially on the platforms that we both operate on, is nowhere near as large as my monthly output is. Steven Crowder, on his own personal YouTube page, according to Social Blade, as I looked at earlier this morning, is only getting 13 million views. Okay? He's getting 13 million views a month. He has another YouTube Bits page. Okay, he has another YouTube Bits page as well. Hold on, we're going to get to the traffic and stuff like that. That's 13 million views. That's a lot of views. Please do not mistake this. That is a lot of views, okay? Not a little amount of views. I myself, this month at least, have gotten 19 million views. That's up 55%. From what I understand, the last time I checked this, if you recall, I was at 25 million views, I thought, which was what was going on my monthly view count. It's lower than I thought it was. But listen, but it doesn't end there. It does not end there. There's also the Hasanabi Clips Industrial Complex. Because I released my IP for you to use whichever way you want to. Whichever way you want to. The Hasanabi Clips Industrial Complex totals 55 to 60 million views a month. My clip channels, someone actually did the totality. Someone actually did the math. Because there is a hub where you can find all the Hasanabi Clips Industrial Complex, channels and whatnot. That's literally fucking 70 million views minimum a month. Overall. So how the fuck are right-wing grifters getting offended at $50 million for a 4-year contract when, like, their output, when Steven Crowder's output, at least on YouTube, is resembling not me, but my fucking fan channel. My fan channel, Hasanabi Productions. Okay, made by a fan in here, not affiliated with myself, gets 9 million video views on his own. That's not me. I don't see a single dime of that. That's all him. My fucking unaffiliated fan channel is almost catching up to Steven Crowder's like personal channel with 5 million subscribers. Explain this to me. Make this fucking make sense. On what planet is Daily Wire dumping $50 million into Steven Crowder? How? I understand the value of propaganda. Okay? I understand the value. Obviously, I do it. It's my job. My job is to understand it. I fight against it. I combat against it. But I don't understand exactly how valuable right-wing propaganda is. Oh, this is This is the HasanHub.com creator. Applying a conservative 1,000 per million views, we get a hypothetical 275,000, which the clip channels might have made up until now. Obviously, not all were monetized or even are now, so that's just an estimate. This was also, Christian was the one who showed total views and monthly views of all of the Hasanabi Clips Industrial Complex clips. Tanklin, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. D-Pipes, thank you for the 3 gifted subs. And a Type, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. It's their bread and butter, dude. They're going to invest everything into it. They can't win on policy, but win with the messaging. But they don't win with the messaging. And also, not only do they not win with the messaging, what does not make sense to me is how this is a sustainable enterprise, how this is a sustainable business. Probably why a lot of bigger conservatives avoid you like the plague. Delusional. Colin Kaepernick compares slavery to $1 million contracts. That's so funny. I fucking hate Noam Blum. He is the right-wing piece of shit. He is very much the right-wing piece of shit that Steven Crowder is as well, just not even as popular as Steven Crowder. But it is pretty funny that he got him like this. Of course he got him like this. Of course Steven Crowder has done something like this. It does not make sense. I don't understand it. And the reason why I don't understand it is not because it's like, oh, I don't get it. Like, I'm more popular than he is. Why is he getting paid so much? I'm like putting on my capitalist cap on. You know what I mean? I'm putting that cap on. And I'm thinking, like, how the fuck is this person valued at this level? How is that possible? I mean, look at this. Even on Google fucking Trends, dude. Even on Google Trends. This makes no sense. How can $100 million a year business that is supposed to want to make money turn around and justify dumping $12.5 million a year into this guy? I don't get it. I don't. He brings in his own subs. I guess, possibly. I don't know. It just does not, something about this does not add up, okay? It just doesn't add up at all. But I never want to hear from dumbasses about how much money I make ever again. Okay? I never want to hear that from you. My funding vehicle is you voluntarily giving me $5 a month or a free donation in the form of a Twitch Prime by avoiding the top of the hour ad break. I do not touch the revenues that Steven Crowder is expecting. It's not even a revenue, it's wages that he is expecting, with all things considered. As the largest left-wing broadcaster on the fucking planet right now, and one of the largest Twitch streamers on the fucking planet, on top of everything else right now, it is mind-boggling to me that the right has funding vehicles that are unimaginable. Like, there's no shot that they're just making straight. They're minting dollary dues in the way that they are justifying this level of fucking wages for this kind of contract for someone like Steven Crowder. New York Biddy, thank you for the 5 gifted. D-Pipes, thank you for the 3 gifted. Nanner767, thank you for the 5. The Codebreaker, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. There's just no fucking way. There's just no fucking way, dude. There's no way. Here's a 3-minute ad break now, by the way. This is why they complain about Soros constantly. They know that they're 100% the creation of right-wing billionaires, so they project onto the left. Yeah, that was a fire segue, I know. 919, I deserve that one. Does anything on the left come close to the Daily Wire? Fuck no. Who? I am the Daily Wire as a single person. And I'm nowhere near that shit, dude. They make $100 million a fucking year. Are you insane? That's what every crusty anarchist thinks I make a day, I guess, because they have no concept of money. I will be demanding a slave contract from the Daily Wire immediately. We'll be discussing this on Timcast tonight, that and everything else. Oh, this is awesome. This is fucking awesome. Wow. Damn, Candace is being underpaid. Oh, no.